Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel. And as you can see on the screen in front of you, today's installment is going to be taking a closer look at the new Jada Toys Ultra Street Fighter 2 Akuma figure. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know about Akuma. So if you've been thinking about picking one up for yourself, you'll know whether this is the figure for you. Going to kick things off by jumping back in time and visiting past Chris, who's taking a look at the packaging on the day it arrived on my doorstep. Then we'll move into the figure itself, talk about the aesthetic and visual experience, take a look at the articulation and posability, have a rundown of the accessories and weigh up whether they're added value, pop him next to a couple of other Street Fighter 2 figures from Jada to see how they look together, and then wrap it up with a nice 360 view. And with all that said and done, you'll have plenty of thorough information to know whether this is the dude you want to crack your wallet or purse open for. Let's get into it and let's jump back in time to visit past Chris and have a quick rundown on the packaging, shall we? Let's do it. Okay then folks, well here is Akuma in packaging, and as you can see it's the standard Jada Toys Street Fighter 2 packaging with this really awesome kind of arcade machine motif with the joysticks and the buttons, name of the figure, a little bit of flavor art, the logo on the front there, the heads up display at the top, really awesome, but of course the window in the center showing off the figure and all the goodies. Then on the back you have the action shot of the figure, the logo again, all the characters in the Street Fighter 2 character selection, which is also your boxes to tick off the figures that you picked up out of the collection. The usual anime style artwork on one side, and then the matching artwork on the other with the little bit of biographical flavor text. Akuma, country of origin Japan, fighting style martial arts rooted in Ansatsuken. I probably pronounced that awfully wrong. And there you go, there's the packaging. So if you're mint in box, that's what you're getting, or if you're interested to know about the peg presents while it's in the store. I've said it before, I love these. I think they're very eye-catching. We see these in toy stores over here in the UK like Smith's Toys, and it's eye-catching. It has shelf presence, it has peg presence when you're seeing it in amongst the selection of action figures. So I'm really into it. Got a lot of character, a lot of personality. That said, I'm not mint in box, so I'm going to crack this bad boy open, get good and hands-on, get some playtime in, pose him up, take some photos, see how I feel about it, jot down some review thoughts, and come back and share those review thoughts in just a minute. So stick around. Future Chris is going to be with you in 3, 2, 1. All right then, folks. Well, here is Akuma then, just the raw figure as he came out of the packaging without any of the accessories involved. And we're going to kick things off by talking about the aesthetic and the visual experience with the character. And as you can see, it's consistent with the Jada Street Fighter 2, Ultra Street Fighter 2 line. It's got that kind of cartoony stroke video gamey aesthetic where it's slightly animated in style. The kind of general visual identity from the whole line is consistent into this character with the kind of the way the color palette is constructed and the way the skin tones, etc., are all put together. It's a nice addition to the line, and obviously anyone who's talented enough to unlock the secret character, which I never did when I was a kid. This guy was news to me in later years. But yeah, you can see it's nice and consistent. At a glance, you can see that's Akuma. It's what Akuma looks like in the game, and it's how he looks in the 3D 6-inch plastic form. Getting in a bit closer to inspect the finer details and the head sculpt. Oh yeah, lovely head sculpt here. Very nice indeed. Again, it's got that kind of exaggerated animated style aesthetic, that video game animated style aesthetic to it. So all those kind of facial features are a little bit over the top, but in a lovely kind of way. So that chin and the kind of downward frown look in this core head here. Obviously, there's a head swap we'll look at later. The furrowed brow, the kind of pointy elfin ears, and then that kind of flamey hair that's shooting up off the top of his head there with his little ponytail flying up in the air as well. One of the really eye-catching features on this character is the paint apps on the eyes, those lovely glowing red eyes set into that dark background there. The red is a slightly different color tone to the hair as well. It's kind of got a more deeper, more menacing kind of vibe to it, which I really, really appreciate. But they've done a great job just offsetting it by that darker tone behind the eyes to really make it stand out and give you that sort of glowing, powerful vibe. Moving further down into the figure, we can see the musculature there, just the kind of exaggerated, over-the-top Street Fighter 2 style musculature in his chest and down his arms, even with the pulsing veins coming through in the musculature as they come down the arms here, which is really nice. The gi has got the grey colour, that kind of bluey grey colour that he wore, the core version of the character wore in the game, and then you've got your kind of tattered, ripped tassels around the arms here, and to give it some sculpted detail, as well as the ribbon coming down the front of the gi too, to give it some depth and some character, as well as the texture, that kind of fabric texture that sits throughout the top of the gi and into the trouser legs as well, which also have that kind of torn off look across the bottom. Got a sculpted belt around the middle here, knotted at the front with a couple of tassels hanging down, which is nice. Looks a bit rubbery and a bit plasticky, but it's consistent. It sits all right in the kind of overall video game animated aesthetic that they're trying to communicate there. The only shame is really that it's a different tone of brown to the tone of brown that's on his wristbands, and I don't know what you call these, punchy pad things on the back of his hands, and then of course his brown sandals at the bottom. On the back of his gi here, we've got the kanji symbol, again, just like it, as per the character design from the video game, in a nice stark red with a kind of lighter blue background behind it as well, just to make it stand out and glow a little bit, particularly under these lights that I'm filming on, which is nice to see. I think it's a paint application on there, not a decal, because you can sort of see the texture on the gi underneath it, which is really lovely to see. Then we've got the sandaled feet. These are nice. You know, we've got the straps going across and sitting in between his toes. At the front there, a little bit of texture detail in them, but nice sculpting then with the toenails and whatnot. I mean, I suppose it depends how you feel about feet. And then the sandals themselves sitting across the bottom. Nice little touch. So they've got the peg holes in the bottom of the sandals and the bottom of the feet lined up together. That's a nice little touch. Or more an articulation point, that I suppose, but I brought it up now. So it's definitely a thumbs up on the aesthetic. The visual experience, I think, with Akuma is great. Like I said before, consistent with the other characters we've seen in the line so far. It's definitely giving off suitable kind of menacing antagonist vibes as well. He should. Up to the usual standard. Obviously, your mileage will vary depending on how you felt about that kind of more cartoony animated style of figure up till now, but I think they brought that two-dimensional side-by-side combat character to life very well in the 6-inch plastic three-dimensional form, so I'm all for it. Thumbs up, absolutely. So there we go, there's the aesthetic, the visual experience. Let's now take a look at his articulation and posability, shall we? Right then, folks, well, before I get into the articulation, I'll just point out that for those who've been collecting the line for a while, if you've got a Ryu, if you've got a Ken, if you've got a Feng Shui, if you've got a DJ, it's standard core articulation for the Jada Street Fighter 2 line, and you won't find any surprises here. So if you're less interested in the articulation and posability, please feel free to avail yourself of the timestamps below. I've put chapters in, jump ahead and take a look at the accessory rundown. However, if this is the first Street Fighter 2, Ultra Street Fighter 2 Jada Toys review you've watched, or you're interested to know whether there's any particular quirks, stick around, I'll run you through it, and I'll get started up top with the head. So Akuma here's got a ball at the base of the neck, ball at the base of the skull, so you've got pretty good down, pretty good up there look, all the way around, full 360, and loads of sort of tilting and movement in that space there. And as you can see, up to that usual kind of silky smooth Jada Toys standard that we know and love. Moving down into the shoulders, it's the butterfly joint, and then the peg and the hinge, so you can go full 360 all the way around, and then tee him out to there. Got the swivel at the top of the bicep and tricep, a pinless double elbow that will get you up to there, and then the hands are pegged in, can swivel all the way around in the wrist, and then both hands left and right have got forward and back hinges. On these ones, all of them, in fact, the hand swaps have got the forward and back as well. Moving down into the torso, it's the barbell joint in the middle and the ball joint at the waist, giving you a pretty good crunch forward, pretty good crunch back, and lots of movement and swivel options in there. The gi itself is removable. You can pop the belt off at the front there using this little pop stud, and then bring it loose like so to reveal underneath. Coming down into the legs, it's the ball joints at the hips and the groin, giving you forward up to there. Full Russian ballet splits out to there. Swivel at the top of the thigh. Pinless double knees that'll take you up to there. There's an ankle swivel, although it's not really ankle technically, it's kind of up here where the leg meets the bottom of the trouser leg there, you can see. Hinge and rocker in the feet, and then the articulated toes that can press forward like so. And as you can see, because of the way that the sandals are fitted, the sandals move with the toe articulation. Lovely touch. So total 100% thumbs up on the articulation and posability with this guy. If you've had a Jada Toys Street Fighter 2 figure in hand, you'll know that they're just lovely. They're just silky smooth. The way they articulate is so easy, but it's not like loose. It's got just the right amount of resistance. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Probably best in class at this price range for sure. I mean, look at the balance there, just like the center of gravity with him up on his toes in that kind of signature on his toes look that he had in the game. And I've always loved the fact that you can do stuff like this with the Jada Toys figures. There's not many lines you could do that with. I tell you what, Mattel, when you come to start working on the DC license, if you could put me in a position where I can get my Man and my Nightwing and, you know, my kind of martial artsy dudes doing this, I'd be so happy. I doubt it, but I mean, look at it. How can that not be a thumbs up on articulation and posability? So there you go. I think you'll agree, that's pretty impressive. So let's now take a look at his accessories and added value. And first up, folks, we've got the head swap here. This is the angry, gritted teeth look on Akuma here. And as you can see, the sculpt of the face, you know, the facial features, the sculpted features in there is up to the same standard as we got with the other head sculpt and up to the standard we've had throughout the line up to now. Yes, the teeth are a bit white, but again, I let that go as everybody else's teeth is too white and it's kind of leaning into that cartoony video game aesthetic there. One interesting thing as well, the hair sculpt, even though the kind of broad kind of styling of the hair is the same, and it's still got the little wash on it and stuff to give it a bit of depth and what have you, and that little flash of brighter colour at the tips, it's a different sculpt. It's sculpted differently all the way up to the bob at the top. Completely differently, which I think is really, really cool. Just goes to show that kind of extra attention to detail. And also, this gritted teeth head sculpt has also got the great glowing red eyes look in it too. Then we have his big wooden ball necklace thing here. A signature part of his look, again, accurate to the way he appeared in the video game. Just a load of brown balls knotted onto a little bit of thread, a little bit of see-through transparent cord there. And one of these at the front, if I swivel them round, there it is. I found it. I don't know if you can see that there. It's got the kanji symbol on it too. Now these are all right. Aesthetically, they're a little bit awkward. I feel like they don't sit sort of flush enough on his body. I went and had a look at their promo photos, and theirs seem to be a bit nicer. I don't know if maybe undoing it and removing one might make it a little bit better, but they could have perhaps afforded to have these just slightly smaller so they sit a bit better across the body, because they sort of get in the way a little bit and they don't move with the flow. You know, if you've got him in a kicking pose and you want them sort of, you know, or thrown back as if he's kicking, they just don't work. They don't play nice. I found these a little bit irritating. Then we have a couple of open palmed hands here. These are pretty standard across the line, to be fair. We've seen these with a number of characters now. But that's fine, because they're consistent, once again, with the kind of, both a martial arts kind of hand, how do we call it, pose, frame kind of thing. But also, obviously, connecting to some of the moves they do within the game. They use these hand poses, so they're all fine. They're just a peg swap, and as I mentioned before, they've got the forward and back hinge on them as well. And we've got his big old Hadouken fireball here with the kind of orangey transparent front, then the deeper, darker red at the back with all the kind of flaming, flashy bits with the main big spike out the back. And then, as you can see, there's a little peg hole here for this stand, so you can display him with it. So I think the accessory selection is fine, adds value. I mean, I'm always going to be pleased about a figure line that gives you head swaps and hand swaps just as standard, so that you can open up a wider range of possibility with the way you might want to display them or photograph them or what have you. So that's always appealing to me. They always make an effort to make sure that the special move power set is somewhere acknowledged or recognized in their figure releases, and they've done so with Akuma as well. So it's all working out. The only thing is, like I say, the necklace is a bit irritating. It's a bit annoying. But overall, it's opened up my imagination and allowed me to do some different things with the figure when I've been playing around with him this week. So I can't complain. Would I like more? I always want more. Yes, absolutely. They should give us more and more and more. But ultimately, it's fine. So I'll give it a thumbs up. All right, folks, let's take a look at Akuma next to a couple of the other Jada Street Fighter 2 figures, shall we? And to start us off, here's Akuma next to M. Bison. Here he is next to Ryu and Ken. Here he is next to Chun-Li and Blanca. And to wrap up this section, here he is with Dalsim and Sagat. All right, folks, well, here's Akuma doing a little 360 turn on the turntable there, so you can take a look at him all the way around. And while you're eyeballing that, I'll offer up a few final thoughts. And I don't know, there's not a great deal else to say when it comes to these Jada Street Fighter 2 figures. They're just consistently good. They're just consistently good. I've been loving getting him in all like little kicky poses and punchy poses and playing around. And I was taking some photos the other day of him, you know, kicking Dalsim in the face and stuff and having a right merry old time. The limits of my imagination were the only problem, because certainly wasn't constrained by the limits of the articulation or anything. It was just brilliant. Just lots of fun to play around with. They just pose really well, especially in terms of posing in those kind of, you know, martial artsy style, superpowered martial artsy style poses that you're looking to do with them. They just work so well. And I think aesthetically they look good. They're super consistent across the whole line. They just tie together really, really well. The shelf display looks wonderful. And so, yeah, I can't recommend it enough. I mean, even if you're not so much of an Ultra Street Fighter 2 guy, I think you should pick up one of these, maybe not this guy, maybe one of the A-list characters like Ken or Ryu, just to get hands-on and get a feel for what's going on with that articulation and just that general vibe, because they're lovely. They've got texture, they've got depth, they've got personality. This line has really won me over. I'll be sad when it's done and dusted. However, it does have a finite finish, you know, in terms of character releases. So there we go. Now, of course, I'll invite you to offer your thoughts and comments in the comments down below. But thanks for watching, folks. I hope that has helped you make your mind up about Akuma. If it has, then give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. All that good stuff. But all that remains to say is have yourselves a great day. Have yourselves a great week. And I'll catch you around these parts again for another video sometime soon. All right? Take it easy, folks.